back to another weekly episode. Today we have got our new special edition Sunday episode where we do a joint video with the one, the only, the Stack Collector.
Hello, everybody. How are we all doing today? Hi, Peter. How are you, mate?
Hi, mate. Yeah, I'm very good. Thank you, mate. How have you been?
Yes, good. It's been a good week up to yet. Thanks for asking.
Good. I'm loving the stack there. That's absolutely amazing on show. You're putting my setup to shame. So very nice, mate.
Well, I thank you, but I don't know about that. I definitely don't have the future investments in Morgan show, which definitely definitely brings yours up a little bit.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. Okay, yeah, so today we are introducing a very new Sunday special episode that we plan to do every single Sunday for you guys. And basically it is going to be a joint episode with me and the Stack Collector doing Q&As, discussing financial topics, maybe the current gold prices, maybe your favorite numismatic coins, or maybe gold and silver bullion. But starting off today, we're going to be doing Q&A where we ask each other questions so you can get to know a little bit more about us both. So if we would like to, I would like to pass the reins over to you, Stack Collector, for the very first question from yourself.
Yes, no problem at all. Okay, so my first question to you at Future Investments is, what is your dream coin / bar that you'd like to own one day? So this is something that you think realistically you will actually be able to own, but right now is a bit of a pipe dream.
Good question. I love gold more than silver, so it would first of all have to be gold. And the first thing that comes to my mind is the dream. If it was precious metals, I would love to own a 1 kilogram gold bar. I just think that's so awesome, and to see that in maybe your safe or your safe location, to see a 1 kilogram gold bar just sitting there, it would just be amazing. So if I could financially afford it in the future, yeah, it would definitely have to be a 1 kilogram gold bar. How about yourself?
Well, that's a great question right there. For me personally, the dream coin that I'd like to own one day, it's a good question. I'd probably say, if it can just be a coin, it would probably be the Gothic crown. So yeah, that's a very rare coin, and one that it's not out of the realms of possibility that I could possibly own one day, but it's definitely out of my price range right now, at least.
How much would a coin like that sort of go for? I wouldn't actually have any idea in terms of that particular coin. Could you maybe enlighten us to what something like that might cost off the top of your head?
Yeah, of course. Of course, yeah. I mean, obviously, with all old coins, it would definitely depend on the condition of the coin. But I'd probably say, you're looking starting at around £2,000 onwards. Yeah. And that's for a crown, which is it's basically this coin right here, but it is a different date, which I believe is 1847. I believe it's the Gothic crown date.
Wow, and that coin is so valuable purely for its desire as a really rare coin. Does it? I take it doesn't particularly hold much actual silver inside it, if at all. It's simply valued on its popularity and being very, very rare. Is that right?
Yeah, definitely valued on its popularity and its numismatic value rather than its silver content, which it does contain silver. With it being a pre-1920s crown like this one here, you probably find you've got around, I think it's about 27 grams of fine silver in one of these coins right here. So there is a bit of silver, not even an ounce worth. So as you can see, the rest of the value there definitely goes on the fact that it is a very rare and very sought after coin.
Yeah. Wow, that's awesome. Very cool to know. Okay, so my first question for you is, what investments do you have? What investments are you willing to tell us that you have, if that's possible?
Okay, yeah, of course. I mean, I do have quite a few investments. I I definitely believe in diversification, but not over diversification. So I would say my main investment would probably be my business, which I do see as an investment. It's something that I'm growing that I will hope in the future will reap a larger reward for me. So I definitely do see my own business as my investment, as an investment, sorry. Then obviously there's precious metals, mainly silver, but a few little pieces of gold. Um, Aside from that, I do have some index funds and some stocks and shares. I have an index fund in the S&P 500, and I also have stocks and shares in Amazon, Coca-Cola, OMF Financials, On Semiconductors, and Johnson and Johnson at the moment. So, as I say, I've got a small portfolio. It's not overly diversified, but it is covering a few different major aspects of the financial industry there.
Awesome. Wow. And do you tend to watch them regularly, or do you sort of invest on a dollar cost averaging basis and just sort of forget about them? Or do you look at them more frequently when you sort of invest, or how do you do it for yourself?
Yeah, no, that's an absolutely brilliant question. It depends. So the S&P 500 ETF, I don't watch that. I just put in money every month, the same amount every month, and I intend to capitalize on that when I retire. So right now, that's not something I look at all. However, the stocks and shares, that is something that I do keep an eye on every now and again. That's purely because if I do see that the price has dipped a significant amount, I'll look to buy more than I would normally buy because the price is going great right then. Or if I see that something spiked up and I don't think it's going to stay at that price very long, and there's going to be a going to come back down, I might temporarily cash in, use that cash in a different investment for another short period, and then look to move it back across when the price comes back down. So I'm basically just taking the profit at the best point I can do and buying back in at the best point I possibly can do. You can't pick when these things are going to happen. You can only react to highs and falls in the market. But I definitely do actively invest on the stocks and shares rather passively on the ETF, as it were.
Wow, that was really, really in depth. Awesome to hear how you yourself kind of do your investment sort of journey and how frequently you check it. So yeah, thanks for answering that. That was awesome to know.
No problem at all. So, how about yourself, Future? What investments do you have, and how do you look to invest in them?
Yeah, thank you. So, I mean, as you can see, predominantly my first big sort of consistent investment was precious metals. I discovered gold and silver bullion, and I kind of fell in love with it. So, I mean, you can see some of my pieces here. I've got several quarter ounce gold Britannias in front of you, some gold bars as well. This is a 5 gram gold Britannia bar, very very cool piece, and some silver as well some, normally 1 ounce or more when it comes to silver. So yeah, the first investment I did and have was precious metals, gold and silver bullion. Again, like yourself, to hedge against that inflation and to store some of my wealth over a long period of time to protect that money. And then I also invest in the S&P 500 index because I believe it's such a fantastic long-term holding investment. I feel like it's very, very low risk with a relatively good yield, just below 10%. I'm happy with that considering how low risk it is. So myself, I dollar cost average that investment and I invest the same amount every single month, month on month. And and because it's a relatively new investment for me, I do continuously check how the S&P 500 is doing. But once the novelty wears off of it being a new investment, I think I will stop looking at it and I will just continue to do the investment. However, I won't be checking it. I currently own a property, but as I live in that, I don't particularly class that per se as a cash flow asset. But I am saving right now for my first buy to let property. So I've slightly backed off of my investments in precious metals, allowing me to hopefully purchase the first buy to let. Right now, I'm actually pretty much down to precious metals and the S&P 500, stocks and shares ISA, but I'm hoping to diversify that slightly further and invest into property into the future. So yeah.
Oh, that's a brilliant answer, and some great investments there. I think it's worth pointing out to people that the S&P 500, which is something that we both invest on, is something that if you'd invested in it at any point and hold for 5 years, you could not have lost money.
Yeah, that's incredible, isn't it? I mean, the statistics of it are amazing. When it was brought to my attention not that long ago, my eyes went ka-ching, a bit like they did when I discovered precious metals. And, I
Yeah.
think over a 20-year holding period, it's never made a loss, if I'm correct. And, you know, it's just an amazing investment vehicle. And if you want to be a hands-off investor that doesn't have to keep monitoring the markets, that is such a fantastic investment vehicle for someone like that.
Brilliant. Okay, and so I think that puts it on my next question, does it? Is that correct?
Yes, I believe it does. Yeah.
Okay, which actually follows on quite nice to the next one, because it's you've recently invested into the S&P 500, as you just mentioned. Do you think you'll diversify into any other assets going forward? Now, I know you've just mentioned that you're going to be looking into a buy-to-let property as soon as possible, but do you think that you'll look into any other stocks or shares or indices or futures or anything like that?
Yeah, definitely. Great question. I know I briefly touched on the fact that I'm saving some cash right now to buy the first buy-to-let property. So that is going to be a future investment on the plan. Excuse the pun. But like you mentioned earlier, you yourself have some Coca-Cola shares. Although I currently have a ISA holding in the S&P 500, which, as you know, is the top 500 companies in the States, I am considering coming and getting and sort of investing in some more individual stocks and shares like Coca-Cola, maybe McDonald's, and some motor companies, and electronics, and futuristic companies that are going to be dealing with a lot of hydro and things like that. Because investing in in individual companies, stocks and shares, you can potentially make a much higher yield because you're putting all of that investment into a single share. You're not spreading it across multiple like you do in the S&P 500. So I think once I'm settled with the S&P 500, I'll probably take some cash and maybe put quite a bit into separate individual stocks and shares. So that is my sort of plan on that one. But how about yourself?
Yeah, no, brilliant. Before I answer that, I just want to go back onto what you just said, Future, because that's absolutely brilliant advice, and it refers back to what I said a little earlier about diversifying but not over diversifying, and that
Absolutely.
is yeah, no, that's exactly the reason why you don't over diversify. If you've got all your money spread across everything and one individual asset shoots for moon, you've lost a big opportunity in that. So, again, I just wanted to point out how great that advice was you just made there. But for myself, at the moment, I'm pretty happy with where I am. The stocks and shares, they're pretty fluid. That's more of the pot of cash that I keep on the trading platform that I look to buy and sell things at the right time. But that pot of cash, I'll keep playing with and keep trying to grow it forwards. Other than that, at the moment, I'm pretty happy with where I am. So, think right now, I'm not looking to diversify any further.
Yeah, no, that's great. It sounds like we're both playing it relatively safe with our investments right now, which is always great to do. But yeah, I'd definitely like to maybe take on some slightly riskier shares and stocks in the future. But moving on, I would like to ask you on that topic, how long do you plan to hold all of these investments for?
Brilliant. Okay, yeah. So the S&P 500, that is my retirement fund. As you know, as I've said with my own business, I don't have a work-based pension. So I do have to look into my own savings for the future. So the way I do that is I use up my £20,000 a year ISA allowance, which I think is a brilliant way for people to invest. I know it's something you've recently done, and I just want to say to people, if you are thinking about investing, you're not really sure what to do, an investment ISA is probably the absolutely best way to do it. And as I've mentioned, my other stocks and shares, which I have on the eToro platform, they're very liquid, and I'm happy to cash them in at any good point to look to reinvest them into something else going forward. So that's something that's there more to be played with. And as I say, if I ever need to dip into anything, then that's what I would go to first, definitely before ever dipping into my S&P 500 account.
Yeah, awesome. Great to hear sort of how you plan and how long you plan to hold your investments for. Um, I myself, I plan most of my holdings are for a long-term period. Um, I really am a fan. I really am a fan of playing the long game over the short game. I feel much more comfortable doing that. So, in regards to my precious metals, the bullion you can see, that is partially my retirement fund. Um, I'm going to be looking to put a lot more cash into precious metals so I can protect my wealth against that inflation over the next 20 years, but I'm not looking at precious metals to actually make me financially comfortable. I'm just using it as a store of wealth. And in the meantime, if that increases with the inflation value, then I'll be happy with that also. But really, like yourself, I'm looking at the S&P 500 to really give me that nice early retirement. If I was just using the S&P 500, I'd be looking to invest a lot more money per month to increase that yield and that return. So in 20 years, I can retire much earlier than the current UK age restriction for retirement. So yeah, I'm planning to hold all of my investments for the long term. Maybe when I get to property, I might look upscaling through the property, maybe selling one and then buying a bigger property to avoid that tax on property sale by putting the cash from that property into the next one. But that currently is a very long way off. But as it stands, all of my investments are for a very long-term hold, roughly around 20 years.
Yeah, brilliant, brilliant. I think, as you said, with the S&P 500, it's definitely more of a long-term investment vehicle than it is a short-term
Yeah,
investment.
absolutely. Okay, so I believe the question is yours now, the Stack Collector.
Right. Okay. So I have a very controversial question here. This is going to get people going in the comment section. I can promise you this. But would you ever consider investing in silver or gold stocks to avoid paying premiums?
Mm, Great shout. Great question as well. Um, hmm, um, I understand what you mean to avoid paying those premiums. We know there's high premiums when it comes to silver, and it does put a lot of people off, including myself sometimes. Uh, Probably not. No. If I was looking to train myself to maybe become a bit more of a currency trader, maybe day trading, I probably would. But realistically, no, I'm not looking to buy, shares or gold and silver, or stocks because I prefer the tangible thing. That's what I feel more comfortable with. And as I say, I'm a long-term holder. I'm hoping to make better and quicker cash flow through property and maybe work and other investments in the future. But I'm not looking to buy gold and silver in any sort of share or stock form. Now, how about yourself?
You know what? It's something that I do toy with the idea of, and I'll be honest with you. The main reason for it is I think gold and silver are brilliant investments. I do think they're great investments. I think they're going to continue to go up going forwards, and they will continue to increase in value. But I don't know if I could bring myself to sell the physical gold and silver that I have. I just love it that much, and just the idea of having something as a bit of a as a bit of a pot, but I could sell and not be worried about selling. It's something I do consider, and I do often think about taking money out of other stocks to put into maybe gold or silver. So yeah, basically, I'm open to the idea, but I'm not saying I'm definitely going to do it, but I am open to the idea going forwards.
Yeah, great shout. I mean, I can understand some of the pros to it, but for me, yeah, not like yourself. I'm on the fence about it, but yeah. Um, okay, so I believe that is my question to you now, is it?
I believe so, yes.
Brilliant. Just before I start, look at the milled spots on this. I was just getting out to show on camera, and can you see that? That is
That's
actually
all.
all one milled spot.
That's all. That is awful. The Royal Mint really do need to sort themselves out. They get such a bad reputation at the moment.
Yeah, that is the newest silver piece in my actual stack, actually, believe it or not, and that's crazy,
You
crazy.
just don't get, yeah, you just don't get it from other mints.
Wow, that is really disappointing. Yeah, I mean, that's another reason why I've stopped buying silver. But on to
Mm.
the next question. It has to be from me. What is your favorite piece in your collection? I can see a load of amazing pieces you've got there, but I'd really like to know what is your favorite piece in your collection?
Oh, wow. You know, the honest truth about this is if you ask me tomorrow, you'll probably get a different answer. Purely because there's so many pieces in my collection that I absolutely love. I mean, one of my favorites is this one that I've said on the channel before. It's that one right there, which may surprise a lot of people. But for one thing, I'm a big Robin Hood fan, and secondly, it was the first bullion coin I ever bought, so it's got a lot of sentimental value to me. So for that reason, it's one of my favorite coins. I'm a big fan of this coin right here, which is the Armenian Noah's Ark. I think they're beautiful coins. I think they remind me of a proof coin. The capsule's quite scratched up, but the coin itself, let me see if I can just, there we go. But as you can see, the coin itself, that is almost like a proof coin. That is
Yeah.
absolutely brilliant. So I'm a big fan of that. There's the older pieces, the 925 silver. But there's one I've got in really nice condition of the crowns. And hiding away here, I don't get this out of the shadow very much because I don't know a lot about it because it's in a foreign language I can't read. But this here is a 100 Kurush golden Ottoman coin dating back to the Ottoman Empire. So I'm a big
Wow.
fan of that because not only is it gold, it's got a lot of history to it as well. But yeah, I'm gonna go. I'll go with the. In fact, I've also, I've just received some new ones, some American coinage from a couple of absolutely amazing subscribers, and then this one right here, which is a samurai coin dating back to samurai Japan. So that's just absolutely incredible. So I don't know. I don't honestly couldn't answer which is my favorite coin. I've just got a few that I absolutely love.
Yeah, I mean, it's a bit unfair, really, asking you to pick one piece, isn't it? I mean, that samurai coin is absolutely awesome, and the gold piece you showed as well. I think they're just epic. The fact that they've got so much history to them, the samurai coin, like you just showed, I can just imagine how many hundreds of years ago they were using that, and how different culture it was. Yeah, that's what I find fascinating about old coins. But yeah, great little show there of some of your favorite precious metals for sure.
Yeah, exactly. So how about you? And I guarantee this question's just got a lot harder for you.
Yeah, yeah, it has. Well, it's definitely not the silver 1 ounce Britannias. I can tell you that because of the milled
No.
spots. Otherwise, otherwise it probably would be because silver looks so good. In silver coin form. I have to say, oh, it's really difficult. But right now, probably my 1 ounce gold bullion coins in my collection. My
But
stack
which one?
It's got to be the Queen Elizabeth over the Charles. I love the
Good
fact
choice.
that she's got the crown, and her picture is slightly more appeasing than Charles' picture is. If I'm totally honest with you, the other piece I absolutely love is my 1 kilogram silver Britannia coin. The big piece, but right now that's tucked away because, as most of you will know, I broke the capsule and I've tucked it away really, really tight and wrapped it up. And I'm currently waiting for a back ordered capsule from Germany. So that would be one of my favorite pieces. But if you were to ask me what fractional gold do I love the most, there is no question or hesitation from me to say these quarter ounce gold Britannia coins.
Yeah.
These are probably really my favorite piece because not only is it gold, I love fractional gold. And for me, this is the perfect happy medium between not too small and not too large. So you're getting a great value of weight of gold without getting too hammered on the premium. So if I only had to pick one and stack one for the rest of my days, I would choose these quarter ounce Britannia coins to stack. So that would be my answer to that question.
No, I don't follow you at all there. I will say, very recently, I was exactly the same side of the fence of you with the quarter ounce Britannias. Very recently, I've jumped back over to the sovereign side, and I think going forwards, I'm probably going to look to pick up sovereigns over the quarter ounces, just because, as we were saying earlier, it's the history of the coins behind them. I know they don't quite have the same gold content. I think, is it 96.967 in the sovereign or something like that?
Yeah, sovereigns have slightly less than a Britannia, ever so slightly less.
Yeah, yeah. But I do think the old sovereigns are they're such a great coin to have. But well, going back to something you said, because I just want to get your opinion on this, and I think it'd be interesting. The Britannia's going forward. What do you think is going to happen now we've had the coronation? Do you think there's going to be Type 3, or do you think we'll stick to the Type 2?
I think there will always be new types, if I'm honest, because if you don't evolve, where?
Oh, no, sorry. I meant specifically this year to show King Charles with the crown.
Oh, sorry. Okay. Yeah. Definitely. I think they're going to bring out, the King Charles crown piece. I think they'd be silly not to. Personally, I think that will sell much better than they've probably seen their sales with the standard generic Charles piece without the crown, because to me, it's fine. Don't get me wrong, but when you compare it to the Queen Elizabeth one, which is this one, I mean, it just looks so much different. This one's actually a little bit yellow. It's got a little bit weird. But if we're just talking about the image, yeah, the new series definitely needs to have obviously the crown, and I think that they need to do that because it's synonymous on a coin, especially gold or silver bullion. So yeah, going forward, I think if they can bring one out with a crown, I'll be very happy. How about you?
I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't think they will. I'm
Really?
sorry. Yeah, no, I don't think they will. Have you heard about the coronation 50p? This right
Yeah.
here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Have you heard that they've released it into circulation, but with the Martin Jennings crownless depiction? So the coronation 50p, this one right here, which does have the crown portrait on the back, the general purpose circulation one, they're not using the crown portrait. So I've got an inkling that it's going to be the same with the bullion, and the crown portrait is only going to be for the commemorative packs.
That is so strange. I mean, for me personally, I feel like you've got a king coronated in the United Kingdom. I feel like he should be represented with a crown on his head. I mean, that's just my personal opinion. It doesn't mean I'm right, but I just, if you tell me you've got a king of this country, I expect to see on the calligraphy a king with a crown. I just find that slightly odd, if I'm totally honest.
It is odd, yeah. I will say though, going with tradition, there hasn't been a coin with showing a king with a crown for a fair few monarchs now. It's just weirdly, traditionally, the most you'll see is that they'll wear it's George, they'll wear a wreath crown like that, a bit like a Roman Empire. But if you look at now that is the only depiction of King George V that we had, and that was without a crown. He did show with a crown on the territories coin, but also again with the if I can find here, it's George VI. He never had a crown on his UK coinage either. So it's weird. It is weird, but we don't seem to like to put kings with crowns on coins over here. But I definitely would like to see it on the new coins going forwards. I think it's a shame that they've confirmed it's not going to be on the 50p.
Yeah, I mean, that's actually one reason. When I recently bought my latest, I added another 1 ounce gold Britannia to my stack. and I already had one of Charles without the crown. And I was thinking, do I buy another one with Charles without the crown, or should I get a Queen Elizabeth one? Because for me, I figured she's got the crown. She's obviously passed. I don't see them continuing to make those ones forever. So I bought a Queen Elizabeth one with the crown on because I figured it would probably be a slightly better investment
Yeah.
as it probably be a slightly more desired piece in the future by collectors. But yeah, who knows? I don't. I just find it very odd that they're releasing stuff, with King Charles on without a crown. Very strange,
Yeah.
in my opinion.
No, it is strange. To be honest with you, the only way I could see anything with King Charles on doing better than Queen Elizabeth is if something happened to him, if he suddenly passed and it turned out to be a very rare coin because of that or something. I think Queen Elizabeth was just a much more popular monarch, and I definitely think her last Britannia is going to be a lot more popular than his first.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, yeah, to be fair, how can you compete with somebody that reigned for 70 years? The
Yeah,
longest reigning monarch in British history.
yeah,
I mean, nonetheless, yeah, difficult to compare them both. But as it stands, if we're talking about the images and the portraits, especially on the coinage, I think they're letting the ball slip by not putting a crown on him. But hey ho.
no, definitely no. I'm with you 100% on that, mate. Okay, so is that would that be on my question or yours, there, mate?
That was, I believe it is your question.
Okay, right, where are we? Okay, yes. Actually, this is a brilliant question because it ties into a few videos I've had on my channel recently, and it's what are your thoughts on stacking pre-decimal silver? So that's our UK version of what's known as constitutional or junk silver.
Thank you for that. Yeah, great question. What are my thoughts on stacking pre-decimal silver? I like it. I think it's very, very good because it keeps history alive. People that are, clearly avid fans of stacking and collecting pre-decimal silver. I think if people like you weren't so interested in it, these coins would not be looked after, they would be discarded, they would be lost. And like I said earlier, I personally love the history of coins, even your standard coins and your chains. I always look at the date on them and think, this 2 pence was made in 1971. And I think, God, how many lives has this 2 pence coin, which is really so, it's not valuable at all, but it's stayed around since 1971 and it's touched thousands, if not millions of people's lives. It's traveled across the country. So yeah, I rate people who stack 3 decimal silver. Personally, for myself, I don't actually go and buy it because really I'm a stacker who likes to buy and spend my money on actual valuable investment assets that I think really have a value for just their pure weight. I know pre-decimal silver is obviously valuable, especially rare pieces, but I don't know enough about it to feel comfortable technically investing in it or collecting it. I do hold a fair amount of pre silver thanks to yourself. I had a giveaway which I won from you, and you put some extra goodies in there. So that all does take quite a place in my safe storage area. And I love to look at it and get it out and show my family and that talk about
Yeah,
the previous kings and queens, etc., and the half crowns and but I don't necessarily go and buy it because I'm focused on bullion and that's more for me is more important. But I do love the history of pre-decimal silver. But obviously, I'll pass that question back to you because you clearly are a fan of stacking pre-decimal silver, as we can see on your stack in front of you.
yes, yes, absolutely. No, I am a huge fan of pre-decimal silver. It was they were the first silver coins I had, but I had them before I knew they were silver coins. They were just old coins in my collection. I mean, that's going back absolutely years. Yeah, no, I agree with you 100%. When it comes to all the predestinal stuff right here, this is more the hobby than it is a investment. Um, the I think the bottom's falling out on it as an investment. I think, whereas it was something that you could get at a really good price previously, and very, very often close to spot price. It's something that nowadays you just don't find it for those kind of prices, and you're paying not usual kind of premiums on it. So I think as as something for a stacker, I think it's probably not going the best way. That being said, if the price continues to go up with pre-decimal silver, you know, buying it now, holding on to it, you could make a lot of profit on it going forward. So yeah, I mean, it's something I will always have in my stack purely because I love it so much. When it comes to investing, I don't think it's necessarily the best type of silver to have. That is the exact reason why I buy and invest in the bullion coins. They're fine metal, it's fine gold or fine silver, and it's it's a much better investment vehicle than the old pre-decimal stuff. But yeah, no, I think I definitely, like you say, this should always be at least a very small part in the stack that's a little bit of pre-decimal, even if it's just a few coins.
Yeah, very well said, there, mate. I completely agree with the very point you said there, actually. So yeah, if we move on to the next question, I would like to ask you a question. You briefly touched on it earlier, the fact that you run your own business, which is an awesome achievement in itself. But my question really is, as you run your own business, do you have any tips for people wanting to start their own?
Yeah, okay. Wow, that's a great question. It's a brilliant question. Now, yeah, as a tip, first of all, I'd probably say do what you love. If you do what you love, you don't have a job. You're doing what you love. It's not work anymore. Yeah, I'm a tree surgeon. The reason I became a tree surgeon is because my whole life I've loved rock climbing. I think I've mentioned on previous videos that I have a bit of a passion for rock climbing. So tree climbing, rock climbing, there's not that much difference between it. You've got your harness on, you're on a rope, and you're climbing about. So, I personally, I find it very rewarding. I have a lot of fun doing it. So definitely enjoy what you do. Have a passion behind what you do, and that will drive you forward a lot. Um, the other biggest tip I could probably give to people who are setting up their own business is when it looks dark, when you think you failed, when you think you should give in, because every single person who starts a business thinks this at some time. Don't. What makes winners different from losers is they don't give up when they feel like that. Everybody feels like that, but they keep going and they keep pushing forward. And that's what you've got to do. There were so many times in the first few years, and you've got to realize I started my business late 2019. So I started it straight into the lockdowns, and those first couple of years was so difficult, just basically trying to keep myself afloat. I wasn't able to get any of the grants or the loans because I was a sole trader and I didn't have 3 years previous working experience to give to them. So it got very, very difficult a lot of the time, and you just keep going, just get through that day, get to the next day, and keep doing that. And things get better and they turn around, and that's that's when you see things start to improve. Reinvest as much money as you possibly can do into your business. Those first couple of years, every time I did a job, every time I got paid from a job, I'd take very little money for myself to live on, and I put all of it back into buying a new tool, buying a new chainsaw, buying a new hedge trimmer. When I started my business, I started off with the cheapest tools you could buy from B&Q. Like the trimmers that were made. It was petrol trimmer, but it was made for home use. It wasn't good enough for commercial use, but I made it work until I made enough money, and I then went back out and I got a good multi-tool that I can use as a trimmer and a hedge trimmer, and I got a good set of hedge trimmers and a good chainsaw and good lawnmowers and all the tipper trailer and other things that I needed for the business that I just couldn't physically afford in the beginning. So definitely reinvest the money you make from the business. I would say at least in the first 5 years, even if you're making a great profit, you don't know how long that's going to last. So definitely reinvest as much as you can for the first few years of the business. Keep going when you feel like you're going to give up, because you are going to feel like you want to give up at some point in time. Never give up, never quit, and do what you're passionate about, do what you love. And that would be the best free tips I would give, because I promise you everything else you will work out along the way. Everything about how to make a spreadsheet, or how to do the accounting, or YouTube is an absolutely brilliant source of knowledge. Things like that. As you come across a problem, you can search on the internet, you can work it out. So if you can nail those main three things of being passionate, never giving up, and reinvesting in yourself and your business, you should get there eventually.
Brilliant, mate. Absolutely fantastic advice. I mean, I don't own my own business or run my own business, but I can just tell from what you said, it sounds so accurate. And especially the part where you said, when you think about giving up, that's where you push. That's where you go the hardest, because it's all about the mindset. And like you said, our mind is the most powerful asset we have. And I think a good way to look at how to have the right mindset is, I like a quote from the book Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki, and he says, "The poor criticize and the rich analyze," and I think that is so true. And I believe you don't have to be rich to have that mindset of the rich analyze. You just have to have the mindset of, I want to be successful, so I'm not going to criticize this current situation that I'm not happy about. I'm going to analyze how to make it better and make it work for me. So I think that comes into running a business. So
yeah, definitely. Definitely. I like I like a much simpler version of that quote. Don't come to me with problems, come to me with solutions.
Brilliant. Absolutely. Yeah.
But it is basically the same thing, isn't it? Don't concentrate on the negativity. Don't get bogged down. Concentrate on what you can do to fix things. Concentrate on what you can actually do to improve your situation.
Yeah, definitely. And I think, I don't actually run my own business, but I've done a lot of private work. And I actually still do some as a bit of extra cash flow income. And a lot of my customers, well, I call them customers because I suppose that's what they are. But they're very, very, very wealthy. And I found one thing with wealthy people is they have a mindset of, give me a yes or a no. I don't want in between. I don't want ifs, buts, or maybes. I only want to know yes or no. And it may seem at first they're being very cold or a bit rude, but the more time I've spent around these people, I realize that's how they become successful, because they don't deal with ifs, buts, or maybes. They only deal with absolutes. Give me a yes, give me a no. They want it clear and cut. And I think that's a good way to try and actually have a good mentality in life, especially I think when it comes to running a business.
Yeah, no, absolutely, absolutely, and like you say yourself, you're running a brand, and you may not officially have a business or anything, but for one, you've got future investments, brand, you've got a bit of private work, so it all translates, and it is, like you say, exactly the same. So yeah, you're 100% right.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there's days where, I'm absolutely rammed. I've got private work on, I've got this to do. I've got that to do. The family or the girlfriend wants me to see me, but I have to go and create future investments content. And it's not just as simple as switching on the camera. You have to research. You have to think about what your viewers, what your subscribers want. And that's what makes you successful, is pushing through when you want to give up. And that's where everybody fails. It's easy to have an idea, but it's not easy to be consistent. And consistency compounds. So I think with anything, with running a business, with starting a YouTube channel, with trying to have a new hobby, with maybe trying to reach any goal, whether it's doing 10 press ups a day, that point, or the idea, is the easy part. But what makes people quit is the consistency. And as soon as you realize that it's all about consistency, I think everything else falls into place.
Yeah, no, but put perfectly. I couldn't say it about myself, mate.
Thank you, mate. Thank you. So, yeah, I mean, that question was mine. Great topic. I like the discussion we had on that. I'll pass the next question over to you, mate.
No problem. This is the last question I've got. It's a personal one for yourself, because I know you like your cars. So, what would be your absolute dream car you could own one day? Now, and this isn't realistically. This is your dream car, in your opinion, the best car in existence.
Oh, God. Uh, that is tough. That's like asking a parent to ask which one is their favorite kid. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
God, I've got to say, my dream car was a Nissan Silvia S15 Spec R.
Yeah.
And I was lucky enough to be able to buy one of those at 20 years old. And I say that because it's not like a Ferrari, it's a relatively affordable sports car.
Yeah.
But because I had one of those, it's come and gone. My desire has changed. If I could pick two, I'm going to be
Yep.
cheeky and try and pick two. I know exactly what two cars I would like, and they're not supercars. One of them is a Nissan Skyline R32 GTR. I think it's one of the best sounding cars ever made. Japanese, I love Japanese cars, and that would be my dream car, alongside with having a Shelby GT 500. I believe it's a Shelby. A prime example of what I would like it to look like is if you've ever seen the film Gone in 60 Seconds with Nicolas Cage, the the star of that film is the Eleanor, the car Eleanor. It's a
Yeah.
500. It's in like a metallic silver with typical pinstripes, and it is absolutely stunning. If I could have that or the Skyline, I'd have to have Eleanor, the GT 500.
Yeah.
But if I could have
Absolutely.
both, how about
No,
yourself? I mean,
yeah, no, I was just saying, I can completely understand that. I think he calls it his unicorn in the film, doesn't it? Because the
yeah,
unicorn, yeah, it's you're not supposed to be able to catch a unicorn. A great film. I love it because I love that car, which is one of my favourites. I would normally have said the Porsche GT 500 Shelby, but I've given this some really good thought, and I've come up with one singular car that I would like to own. And I don't know the make, I don't know the model. I just know the name of the car. And it's a very famous car. A lot of people will know the car. I mean, have you ever heard, and I apologize for my language, have you ever heard of Little Bastard or Little Bastard?
I cannot say I've ever heard of that. I couldn't even tell you what type of car that is. Um,
It's, I can't, it's a beautiful car. It's the car James Dean died in.
oh, bloody hell. Oh, God. I don't actually know what that is. I know
But
James Dean is, and I don't
yeah,
know the car.
bear with me 1 second. I can always edit this out, but what I'm going to do is I'm just going to very quickly Porsche 500 Spider, 550 Spider.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, yeah. If you get a chance to check that out. Yeah, it's a Porsche 550 Spider. And there's actually there's a brilliant story behind that individual car. It's worth looking up. I don't know if you're like me. I like a good ghost story, and I'm into my cryptids and all that. And
Yeah.
James Dean's car is supposed to be cursed because they recovered it and used it to fix all the cars and et cetera, et cetera. And it's one of those vehicles that, you know, the parts, when we put them into the cars, they end up crashing and killing other people. So it is actually supposed to be a cursed car. But yeah, a good little story behind that if anyone's interested in that kind of thing.
Yeah, do you know, it's funny you should mention that. You jogged my memory there. I actually remember reading something about the fact that James D died in that car. And like you said, the parts were taken out and the mechanic who bought the car, he died. And then someone who bought the
Yeah,
engine from that car, he died in the car crash. And it's happened like 3 or 4 times with parts from that car. So yeah,
yeah,
very, very
yeah.
critical and all that about that. Very interesting.
Absolutely. I think did it, if I remember correctly, did it squash the mechanic? I think he was working underneath it, wasn't he? And it fell on top of him and squashed him. If I
Wow.
might be wrong about that, but if memory serves correctly,
Yeah, bad way to go. Bad way to go.
definitely.
I suppose, yeah, we're now on the final question for me. And again, it's a bit more light-hearted. Being on the topic that we're YouTube content creators now, you're on your way to nearly 500 subscribers, so well done for that. I would like to ask you, what YouTubers do you enjoy watching that are non-stacking, finance and investing related?
Brilliant. Okay, so I keep setting myself up on this conversation. I'm not sure why, but going back to the cryptids and the spooky stories, I don't know if you've ever heard of a channel called the Y Files. I'm massively into them right now. It's a really good channel. It's kind of comical. It's this guy called AJ. He tells stories like to, you know, give a good example. Like the Denver airport, there's supposed to be a secret base underneath that, and it seems like we never landed on the moon, that kind of thing. Uh, he's got a little sidekick, which is it's called Hecklefish. It's a little fish in a goldfish bowl, and he CGI's facial expressions and everything, and he just heckles into the video all the way along. But one thing I really like about it, the way where it's different, and it's so well done. I think I think he used to be a television producer in his career. You would think it's an actual, something professionally made. But the reason I like it the most is at the end of every single episode, he goes into the actual reality of it and breaks it down and debunks it. And where most people like lean into the conspiracy because that sells, he actually tells people the truth. And a lot of the time, he'll say like, "Yeah, no, it's a load of nonsense. It never happened. He's lying. This person's lying about what they said, and it was proven by this person who went to school with him, and that kind of thing." But that's an absolutely amazing channel. That's definitely worth watching. I watch a fishing channel called Fishing with Carl. If anyone's interested in fishing, that's definitely worthwhile watching. And other than that, there's not really a lot. I watch Viva La Dirt League. Have you ever heard of Viva La Dirt League?
No, I can't say I have. Never heard of that, actually.
Yeah, I think we're from, I believe New Zealand, but it might be Australia. I might be offended there, but I believe it's New Zealand. And the main channel, Viva La Dirt League, it's all about skets. And what got me into the channel mainly is they do this one sketch called Epic NPC Man. And it's about this one guy who's called Greg the Garlic Farmer. And all he does is he stands there outside of his shop with a table next to him with some wares on it, and then like people come up to him, he's like, "Hi, adventurer, how are you doing?" And he gives them it's taking the mix out of tropes from video games. So, yeah, and it's really funny because they do Epic NPC Man, they do PUBG. They do quite, skits about quite a lot of things. But what they've also done is they've got a split off channel based on Epic NPC Man, which is them playing Dungeons and Dragons live as the characters from the skits. Which, if you're a fan of Dungeons and Dragons, you absolutely have to watch that. It is absolutely on par with Critical Role, and if you're a D&D fan, you know what I mean by that. But I won't bore everybody else. But they're the main channels. Any others will just be ones that I sleep through here and there, really.
Yes. Wow. Great breakdown of your channel there. Nice and varied as well. Definitely.
Thank you. And so back to you. How about yourself? Non-stacking or collecting or investment related? What channels do you like to enjoy?
Yeah, it's difficult for me to answer to be honest with you, because my mind right now is so ingrained as an investor and as I'm looking for opportunities. I can't get it out of my head. The more I find out about investing, the harder I find to get away from it. So I do have very little time at the moment with future investments. It takes up 90% of my free time.
Yeah.
So I don't get to watch an awful lot of YouTube anymore like I used to. But when I do force myself to make time for myself to watch YouTube, it depends on my mood of the time. But I'll just reel off a few that I do like watching. Again, they're all completely different depending on my mood at the time and what I'm into. But I really do like Star Wars Theory. He's a chap who's got 3 million subscribers, and he does like theories, mostly on the prequels of Star Wars, which is my favourite era of Star Wars. And it's like, for example, what if? So, for example, what if Anakin Skywalker didn't turn to the dark side in Revenge of the Sith? And then he leads on with animations of what might happen. I thoroughly enjoy them, but other than that, with Star Wars people. As I say, I don't get to watch an awful lot anymore. One I do like, and this could be quite controversial, it's a new channel. It's actually called Civdiv, Civdiv, and he is a American chap who was a Marine, and he volunteered to fight in Ukraine. and he wore GoPro footage, and he uploaded it, and it went viral, got millions of views because it was frontline combat footage, and it was just, to me, so incredible to watch frontline combat footage that was unedited. It really blew my mind. And what he now does is he's come back to, he's not fighting in Ukraine anymore as a volunteer fighter. Um, he obviously, he has friends out there, and they give him the footage, and he uploads this footage. And you know, I'm not saying I'm picking sides. I'm not being political. I'm just watching this video purely for the side of seeing how combat in real life modern day times is. And I sit there in amazement thinking, you know, I'm in England and I'm super safe. You know, we're surrounded by water. There's no war. And then there's this guy running through streets and houses, past houses and cars that could as well be outside my house, you know, but there's bombs going off and they're shooting each other. And you expect to see that in the East, you know, in the Middle East, because that's what it's been for the last couple of decades. But to see it in Central Europe, it just blows my mind. So I'm actually watching him quite a bit when he uploads new content. So yeah, slightly controversial. I'm not saying I choose sides or anything, because that's not what I do here. It's not political, but yeah, I'll watch it purely for the combat footage because it's surreal to me, utterly surreal. But yeah,
Yeah.
very, 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 very depends on the mood.
Yeah, no, I mean, that sounds so interesting. I mean, it is different nowadays, isn't it? Because you never had this before in any wars. You didn't have like live GoPro footage that's been actually filmed by the soldiers. It's not propaganda. It's not people, you know, it's not people going out there with an agenda. These are people who are actually on the front line, like you say, actually filming it. Yeah, you can actually see what life is really like for those people. And I think, you know, I think it's so easily detached, isn't it? When you're in Western society, that's, you know, you should get that. This is the reality for so many countries around the world that are still war torn. You know, like you said, I think this is your first war in mainland Europe since the Second World War. So like 50 years. So, you know, it is very easy to forget how difficult some people have it out there in the world. And my thoughts do go out to everybody involved in the conflict. Like you say, you know, keeping out of sides and keeping up politically. I know the people involved are just soldiers, just, you know, just doing their individual parts. And my thoughts go out to every single one of them.
Yeah, well said there, mate. Well said. So yeah, I mean, it's been fantastic. We've literally just topped over to an hour. Amazing questions, I think, from yourself, and I've enjoyed asking you my questions as well. We've gone in depth really, really well today, actually, and I thoroughly enjoyed, you know, getting to know you personally more, and I know the viewers will have, and you know, also talking about the investment side, being that we are financial channels, is thoroughly enjoying to really get stuck in. I'm looking forward to making this a regular thing with you every Sunday. Hopefully we'll upload. That's our goal anyway, isn't it? And, you know, it's a really good way to communicate with a fellow precious metals stacker, investor, content creator. And I hope the viewers have enjoyed this episode. It's a great sort of thing that you can put on, you know, in the background while you're cooking dinner or while you're making lunch. I know I often do that when I'm watching precious metals and investing, because it's good for the background and really nice to listen to. So yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed filming it today. And you know, I mean, how have you felt about this today? Have you enjoyed it?
I've absolutely loved it, mate. It's so great to be here, and yeah, I'd absolutely love to make it a weekly thing and come across and have a chat with you every week about you know, investments in precious metals.
Yeah, that's brilliant, mate. Thank you. And thank you for being on the channel. If you want to watch videos from the Stack Collector, you can easily find his channel because it will be linked in the description of this video. He makes amazing content, a lot of numismatic videos on coins, and I know you do coin hunts. Recently you've done a lot of 50p coin hunts, which I thoroughly enjoy. So if you're looking for something that is maybe slightly off of precious metals and also about numismatic stuff, then Stack Collector is your man, as well as gold and silver bullion. So yeah, thanks for being part of it today, mate. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I'm going to hand the reins over to you to you know, give yourself an outro and finish the video.
Okay, no, thank you, brilliant. Okay, well, everybody, what have you thought of today's video? I'm can't wait to find out in the comment section. And please don't think for 1 second that I won't be there replying to everybody and see what everybody's put, because I'm very interested to know, because it's been a lot of fun. I really enjoy coming over here and, like you say, casually chatting about the things that we're both very passionate about. But other than that, the only thing I've really got to say that's worth mentioning is I do have a giveaway on the channel right now where you can win either both of these Coronation coin packs or this 2023 Silver Britannia by the Royal Mint. The only thing you have to do is find the giveaway. I am doing it as a treasure hunt. I'm not telling anybody which video it's located in. But if you can find the video, you can enter completely free of charge. It is open to everybody. So good luck in finding that and getting into enter to the 500 subscriber giveaway. Other than that, Future, thank you so much for having me. And until next week, as always, keep stacking, take care, and goodbye.